Our Election Day coverage continues tonight. Joining me now in studio is Fox 26 political reporter Greg Groogan and Mark Jones, a political analyst from Rice University. Greg?
Hey, Mark, thanks for being with us tonight. Let's get straight to Texas 18, long-awaited race. Barring a day of surge by Jolanda Jones, it looks like County Attorney Christian Menifee versus former City Council member Amanda Edwards, correct?
That's correct. Menifee is going to finish first with at least a significant margin over Edwards, and then Edwards has a significant margin over Jones. Now, about half of the votes are in, about half of the votes, or perhaps a little more, are going to come in on Election Day. But it would take a real surge, like you mentioned, by Jones to leapfrog over Edwards. Menifee's in the runoff for sure. It's a lock. Edwards is most likely going to join him. And then we'll have to wait on Governor Greg Abbott to see when that election will be. Most likely it'll be late January or early February due to federal law, which requires a longer gap between the normal election, the first round, and the runoff.
We're also closely watching the race for Houston City Council at large. Who has emerged on top there? It looks like Dwight Boykins and perhaps Alejandra Salinas. Is there any chance of them being knocked out?
Well, there you have the only candidate who could catch them. Boykins has a narrow lead of 3 points over Salinas, who in turn has a lead of about 5 points over Jordan Thomas, who is relatively unknown, except he did receive the Houston Chronicle endorsement. Normally, endorsements don't have a major effect, but in a low information election like this, where people were turning out to vote in constitutional amendment elections and in CD18, it played a greater role. It's unlikely. Most likely scenario is that Boykins and Salinas will go to a runoff. That runoff, though, will be earlier, most likely in December.
Okay, in our state's capital, Austin, there was something called Proposition Q, a big tax hike that they asked the folks in Austin to pass. What's going on there?
Well, this is from legislation that State Senator Paul Bettencourt passed to help pass in the state legislature, limits the ability of cities to, on their own, unilaterally increase property taxes beyond a certain rate. Austin wanted to go beyond that rate, so state law requires them to go to voters and ask for permission. Voters said, no way. Right now, 2/3 have voted no, 1/3 had voted yes, and this is in Austin, the most progressive city in the state, where even there, among the most progressive voters, they say no to more property taxes.
No appetite to shell out more.
No.
All right, Anthony, back to you, my friend.
Good conversation there, Greg. Thank you so much. And voters signing off on some critical races here today. The outcomes potentially shedding some light on how Americans feel about the current political landscape. Here's Fox's Connor Hansen with more.
Voters weighing in Tuesday on some key races. The results could help take the temperature of America's current political climate. In one of the most closely watched New York City mayoral races in years, newcomer Zohran Mamdani comes out on top. His victory in America's largest city as a self-proclaimed Democratic socialist could carve a new path forward for the Democratic Party.
I'm looking to lead a city of 8.5 million people, and I think it's time that we have a politics that puts the people first.
The race drew its biggest turnout in 2 decades. Mamdani's closest competition came from former Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo, who ran as an independent and had framed himself as the moderate option in the race. In New Jersey, Election Day was not without issues, with bomb threats called in early in the day at multiple polling locations. But in the end, voters picked Democrat Mikey Sherrill to be the state's next governor. And in Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger will become the first female governor in the state's history, the former congresswoman flipping Virginia back blue after 4 years of Republican control.
Virginia voters made our choice tonight, and that choice was loud and clear.
Some of voters' biggest issues in these races, rising costs and affordability, as well as health care and public safety. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.